Welcome to today's news discussion. I'm Claire, and I'm joined by Alan.
Hi, I'm Alan. Good morning, Claire.
Good morning, Alan. Let's dive into our first story. Iran's Joint Military Command announced that the Strait of Hormuz has been closed again, citing Israeli attacks in Lebanon and alleged U.S. non-compliance with a peace agreement.
That's a significant escalation. Can you explain what the Strait of Hormuz is and why its closure matters?
The Strait of Hormuz is a critical waterway connecting the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. It's one of the most important shipping lanes in the world, with a significant portion of global oil exports passing through it. Closing the strait would severely impact global oil supplies and prices.
I see. So what's the context behind Iran's decision to close it again?
According to the reports, Iran's military command cited Israeli attacks in Lebanon and what they described as U.S. bad faith and breach of commitments. This comes as Iran's negotiators are heading to Switzerland for talks on their interim deal with the U.S.
That's interesting. The timing seems quite deliberate. Do we know how the U.S. has responded to Iran's announcement?
The articles don't mention a specific U.S. response yet, but it's clear that this development could complicate ongoing negotiations between the two countries.
What's the potential impact on global oil markets if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed?
If the strait is closed, it could lead to a significant increase in oil prices due to the disruption of oil supplies. The exact impact would depend on how long the closure lasts and whether alternative routes are available. Moving on to our next story. President Donald Trump unveiled a new Air Force One, a Boeing 747 jumbo jet that was gifted by Qatar and subsequently converted for use as the official U.S. presidential aircraft.
That's a fascinating development. What are the key features of this new aircraft?
The reports describe it as a luxurious jumbo jet with a striking navy blue and red exterior, differing from the traditional robin's egg blue. It's intended to serve as a temporary replacement until new Boeing jets arrive in 2028.
So it's a bridge solution. How does this gift from Qatar fit into the broader context of U.S.-Qatar relations?
Qatar has historically maintained good relations with the U.S., hosting significant U.S. military facilities. This gift could be seen as a gesture of their continued cooperation and friendship.
That makes sense. What's the significance of the new design, and has there been any commentary on it?
The new design is quite bold, with a navy blue and red color scheme. While the articles don't provide extensive commentary on the design, it's clear that it's a departure from the traditional look of Air Force One. Let's move on to our next story. Bolivian President Rodrigo Paz has declared a state of emergency due to road blockades that have severely impacted fuel and food supplies in major cities.
What's the background to these road blockades?
The blockades are part of a wave of protests against the government over rising living costs and economic pressure, which have escalated into a broader political crisis.
So the declaration of a state of emergency gives the military broad powers to address the situation. How might this play out?
The military will likely be tasked with removing the road blockades to restore the flow of essential supplies. This could lead to confrontations with protesters, potentially escalating the situation further.
What's the current humanitarian impact of these blockades?
The articles indicate that the blockades have put a stranglehold on fuel and food supplies, affecting not just the capital, but other major cities. Let's move on to our next story. Despite a new ceasefire between Israel and the Iran-backed Hezbollah group, fresh Israeli strikes in South Lebanon killed at least 5 people on Saturday.
That's tragic. Can you provide more details about the strikes and the ceasefire?
The strikes occurred overnight and into Saturday morning, with Israeli warplanes and drones targeting the Nabatiyeh area, destroying residential buildings.
So the timing of these strikes is particularly sensitive. Do we know why Israel might have carried out these attacks despite the ceasefire?
The reports don't provide a clear rationale from Israel's perspective, but it's possible that the situation on the ground is still volatile, leading to miscalculations or deliberate actions. Moving on to our final story. Russian-guided bombs struck an apartment block in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city, killing at least 1 person and injuring 9, including a 6-year-old child.
That's devastating. What's the context of this attack?
The attack is part of the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. The specific targeting of residential areas raises significant humanitarian concerns.
How have the authorities responded to this latest attack?
The mayor of Kharkiv, Ihor Terekov, reported that a body was pulled from the rubble hours after the attack. The authorities are likely to continue their efforts to rescue those trapped and assess the damage.
What's the broader impact of such attacks on the civilian population in Kharkiv?
The repeated targeting of residential areas leads to significant displacement, injury, and loss of life among civilians. It also puts a strain on local resources and infrastructure. That's all for today's discussion. Thank you for joining us, Alan.
Thank you, Claire. It's been a thorough examination of the day's key stories.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with more news and analysis. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.